So the informational book I chose today is the Pictorial Encyclopedia of American History. It is from the years 1734 to 1783. And this book just has a lot of really good design and illustrations, and the text and content, there's just so much information in this. And it's just really good for young Americans to learn about their heritage of freedom and equality. And it's basically about the Revolution of Freedom. And I really like the illustrations in here. So this is basically talking about the 13 colonies. And so the designs and illustrations are pretty descriptive. It's really cool to see how people looked and dressed in the 1700s. And the text is really well organized. I think it's important for informational books to be well organized, so that way when children are reading through them and learning about them, it's not really confusing or overwhelming to them. So just like turn back in this page, it talks about like Jamestown and all that good stuff in there. And then, so like here, there's just like tons of text, but it's like the font is big, so it doesn't feel like there's these tiny little words and like we're never going to get through this. I know that can be overwhelming for kids, but then it's just kind of off, like it's just balanced out with the designs and illustrations. I think are really nice because then they kind of have an idea as they're learning what's going on and what the people look like as they're learning about them. And then it just talks about French customs and the French and Indian War. And like it explains like the French territory and the Spanish territory. Kind of just gives a general idea. And the illustrations are really nice for like the war. Like obviously people are upset, but there's no bloodshed or anything, so you don't see anybody really getting hurt. You kind of just get the general idea, which is really good because you want children to kind of understand that these things happen, but we don't need to traumatize them on the way of learning. It also talks about the Revolutionary War. Let's see, get to that picture. So here's the Revolutionary War and like people getting ready, what they looked like, their uniforms back in the day. It explains what's going on in the Revolutionary War once again. The illustrations here, obviously people are hurt and dying, but it's not overly traumatizing. You don't see any blood or anybody like physically really killing anyone. And skip to the back here. And then this is just talking about like after all of that, America, a new nation, begins a new life. And I think it's really cool in the back here, it shows us what the United States looked like in 1783. And it looks completely different. And I think that's just super interesting for kids because, I mean, even for adults too, it's like really cool. I remember learning about all this stuff when I was younger, but just looking back on it and refreshing was really cool. I'm going to read a little bit. In the front and the back has a little quote by Thomas Paine, and it says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will in this crisis shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands it now deserves the love and thanks of men and women." So I would check this book out. It's pretty cool. It was a really nice refresher.